Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Championship Leadership Podcast. And today I'm excited. We got Matt Brown, the Immortal, UFC fighter. He was part of the seventh season of The Ultimate Fighter. He just coming off of a big victory here the end of December. And so I'm just excited to have you here. Thanks, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I always like to ask this question just to start it off to kind of get things rolling. What does championship leadership mean to you when you hear that, when you think of that?
Well, wow, that's I'm glad we got a lot of time because
Yeah.
a lot on that.
Yeah.
I mean, when I think of leadership, I think of someone that's, there's this whole concept I talk about called force versus power.
Yeah.
Like the forceful person that attempts to always gets a defensive reaction because they try to force themselves into something. And it's always a pushback. The leader is a powerful person, right? And the powerful person walks in the room and they're powerful. You ought to have an automatic respect for them. And so when I think of like a champion leader, the first thing I think of is a powerful person, some sort of, like an aura about them and something that, people buy into them and their visions very, very easily, organically and naturally.
Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And there's just something about when someone walks in the room with that power, like you say, like everybody just kind of knows, right? Like it's just like you're drawn to them too a little bit. And so maybe talk about that. Like how important is that play into, I imagine it plays into what you do in the ring when it's just you and another man facing each other, like the power versus force. And I mean, can you feel that as a part of your training? Is that a part of like your fighting style, your philosophy in life? Yeah, maybe talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, that's exactly the principle of jiu-jitsu that
Okay.
is a huge takeaway in life for me, is a principle of jiu-jitsu where, it's based around like wrestling, for instance. At least a lot of American wrestling up into a certain level, is a very force-based strength sport. And that's not, to take away from the many that aren't like that too.
Sure.
Striking, it doesn't necessarily found itself on those principles, but a lot of that's still there again at the highest level in terms of as a fundamental principle of the art. That's what jiu-jitsu is all about.
Yeah.
If I need you to come to me, right? I need you to move your body, some body part to me. I try to push it away.
Okay.
And that's that little nuanced push creates you coming to me the way that I wanted. And if I wanted you to go away, then I would try to pull you to me, sort of. It's a very rough analogy, but
yeah,
that's the idea of power over force. If I try to force you to me, I get a defensive reaction and you go away. If I try to push you away, you come to me. Now I use the power to get there.
Yeah. So are you taking, like, how does all of that you learn, like those little nuances, I imagine you've been in this game for a long time. It's really your life and what you do. How do you take all of these lessons, like just what you were talking about, like that takes time to master and to really become an expert at an elite level? Like, how do you take that into how you apply to the rest of your life? Maybe as a father, as a business owner, like other relationships.
Yes. I use a lot of those concepts and ideas in fatherhood specifically, where trying not to be forceful towards my kids.
Yeah.
And I try to lead them the right path. The adult building business is a very complicated thing.
No doubt.
And there's no right or wrong way to do it. But I feel like for them to learn from me and to become powerful people, I have to be powerful to them. And that's, to me, is what a leader is. And I attempt to do the same thing in my business. I own a martial arts gym here in Columbus, Ohio. And yeah, it's the same thing. Like the people that work for me, my employees, I have to do the same thing to them. If I try to force them to do something, it never works. So again, it's about using the power, and the power is, you know, when you say that, it sounds like you're being forceful when you say that, but I try to be, get them to buy into my vision.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what true power is.
Yeah,
And same with the athletes I coach. You know, and when I do that, I notice a much better response. And I think usually people want to be forceful because there's a specific way that they want something done, and there's a specific way, a thing that they want done. Where I've learned, you know, so again, with kids, with employees, with athletes, they're going to do it their way, one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to learn to step back and allow that. And again, they buy into your vision and your beliefs, then they're going to do it a better way.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of feel like when you're talking about it, I'm thinking of force, and I'm like, you know, it could be a big lack of patience too, right? And, you know, I can imagine in the ring, when you get impatient, that could get you in trouble in a hurry as well. Definitely also in life of, just allowing certain things to come to you versus trying to force the issue. And so I love that concept. Maybe you could talk to us just a little bit about, like, for the listeners that don't know a lot about you, maybe a little bit of your story. Like, how did you get into mixed martial arts? How did this become really a part of just who you are and in your life? You own the gym now, of course. You got employees that you're supporting. You got other athletes that are looking up to you, that you're guiding, that you're leading, that you're mentoring. Like, how did you get to where you are today?
Well, I was going down the wrong path for a long time. I didn't have any direction in my life: drugs, alcohol, partying. And really, I was just I think, looking back, I mean, I was just a smart kid with a bright future that had nowhere to harness all that energy. And then when I found martial arts, all that energy was harnessed, and it was found a positive outlet for that energy, and something that I could really attach myself to. And I was able to create my own identity within that niche. So that was that was what really got me started in martial arts. And the day I walked into a martial arts gym and I felt the energy in there and was attracted to that. And I walked out saying, like, there's nothing else I'm ever going to do in my life, or nothing that I will ever pursue again in my life other than this.
That's awesome.
I mean, I do pursue businesses which are based around the martial arts. I pursue, you know, relationships and things like that, but it all begins with the martial arts and ends with the martial arts. And I married the sport, and I don't have any intentions of pursuing anything else. Like, I'm not going to pursue material objects, or you know, like, I don't want to be a doctor. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
is the only thing. I've said many times, I'm going to die on those mats, you know, hopefully in a pool of blood, and, you know, doing what I love, man. So,
yeah, I've seen you say that recently, right? You talked about it, like, hey, I don't have an exit strategy here. You know, I think you even said you expect to die in the ring, right?
exactly. It could be in a ring
as well, right?
Yeah, it could be in the ring, or, you know, the weight room or whatever. But and that's exactly how I was able to succeed as far as I have. That's why my business has succeeded as far as it has. You know, we're still both, all those things. I mean, as a person, as an athlete, as a business owner, all those things are still in the infant stages. But the reason that they are growing is because I never had a plan B.
Yeah,
I didn't open a business and give myself an option of whether it's going to work.
Yeah.
When I wanted to get to the UFC, I didn't say, I'm going to try my best. I'm going to work as hard as I can and see what happens. I said, I'm going to pursue a championship, and I won't accept anything less. And that doesn't mean you'll necessarily get it. Like, I haven't got a championship, but there's only one pursuit, and that's of excellence. And that's what I'm searching for. I try to get this through to my athletes when we do like sprints and things like that. But great examples, like we do these stair sprints down. It was a pretty long set of stairs, and they always wonder how I'm able to do so many. And I just tell them that they're like, "Oh, you're so mentally tough." And I'm like, "No." I said, "This is how many I'm going to do, and that's how many I do." I just simply made a choice. Like, I won't do more. I won't do less. I'm going to do this many, period. Yeah. And there's no, like, if I die trying to get that many, then I'll die trying to get that many.
That's rare. I mean, it's simple. It's like, it really is simple if you break it down to like, hey, I'm making a choice and I'm going to be a man of my word, like to myself, and I'm going to do this. This is what's required. It's all about excellence to win a championship inside of the UFC, and outside of it, it's just to be the best possible version of yourself as you can. Who are some people that maybe helped? Like, has that always been inherently in you? Like, you just always kind of been driven like that? Have there been some coaches, some leaders, some mentors along the way that have helped kind of instill that in you? Maybe you could talk a little bit about some people that have impacted you to help you get.
No, that mentality was really all my own. No one really brought that to me, but I've certainly had some really positive influences, and really has some very positive people, that maybe have that same mentality and don't even express it the same.
Yeah.
Rich Franklin was a huge one. Very, very intelligent guy, very well-spoken, very eloquent. And I didn't even realize that until not too long when I opened a gym, and I started realizing that I was repeating a lot of the stuff to my athletes that he was saying to me, because I would run into these situations and these people would ask me questions, and how did I answer it? Well, I would look back at, what Rich tell me in that situation,
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. And now, Mark Coleman's another one, and he comes into the gym all his time still. And it's really a lot of these people, it's not necessarily like specific things they said, whatever, but that powerful energy that they bring.
Yeah.
They remind me that I'm powerful, and they remind me that I'm a strong person. And sometimes that's easy to forget, particularly in the grind of the training that we do, when you're getting beat up a lot. Like, we're doing very high volume, a higher volume than other people in the gym. So these people are rested and fresh, and they beat you up, and you're like, dude, I worked so hard this week. Why am I losing this shit? And, why can't I perform this technique or different things? So to have those positive figures just to remind you of how powerful you really are, it goes a very long way.
Yeah. Thank you. What's the vision for you? Like, I know as a fighter, of course, you're not done. You just came off a big win, maybe off a little bit of time off, but championship's the goal. Like, you just talked about it, like that. And if it isn't, you probably, you're definitely in it for the wrong reasons, but continually keeping yourself like ready. And then also, but now you got this business, right? Now you're leading others. And so you got a little bit going on. Like, what's a big vision for you on where you're headed with the impact that you want to make?
Well, I guess when I say championship, that term has been redefined for me over the years too. Yeah. It's like how you said, define championship leader, right? I didn't say, a leader that's carrying a belt around. Yeah. Right. There's enough champions that aren't, there's enough people with belts that aren't real champions.
100%. Yeah.
So I have kids, and again, I have a business, and I've realized over the past few years how many people I affect on a daily basis, with whether it's my presence, social media, or be podcasts like this, different ways. And that's what being a champion is what are you giving back to the world?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my primary focus, is not just all about me and what I absorb and what I take in and what I sponge, but rather what is that doing for the rest of the world?
Yeah.
Starts with my own children.
Yeah.
And then trickles out from there.
Thank you. What's a moment in your life, like we call it turning points, maybe a critical moment where, man, you could have very easily been somewhere else in life, but you, in that moment, kind of that fork in the road, you made the decision to take the path you did. It has you where you are, got going on for your life and for your family and for your career and everything else that's going on for you. But like, had you made that a different decision, you could very easily be somewhere else. Like, and I think a lot of the listeners, they love to hear these stories just because they're in that moment right now, and they're fighting with whether or not to have the courage to really make the decision that they know is true for them. There's a lot of people, they don't, and they end up kind of going that's what some people would say is the safe route, but really it's the route that leaves them unfulfilled, right?
Yeah, so
sticks out to you?
I could definitely come up with a few different ones that were huge turning points. I would say probably the most significant one was I was living in New York City, and I actually moved there to train. But if you know anything about New York City, it's a very, very expensive place. So I ended up having to work so much to keep up. I was building a personal training business, and I was starting to pick up some steam. Well, that was when the Ultimate Fighter came to Newark and did interviews, and I went over and I got through the first set of interviews and tryouts, and they wanted to call me back. So I had a choice right then. I had a pretty safe net right there in New York City. I had a business that was, right on the tipping point. It was about to go really smooth, and I put in close to a year worth of very, very hard work, 15-hour day work weeks. And, I was still training as much as I could. But usually, within the gym where I was training other people. Well, anyway, so I had to make a decision of, do I change everything and pursue this Ultimate Fighter goal fully? When really the Ultimate Fighter is not there's 16 guys in there. Usually 4 or 5 get contracts.
Yeah, right. No guarantees,
so,
right?
Yeah. So, and I didn't even know for sure if I was going to be on the show yet. There was still two more interviews. Lots of things can go wrong. I think they bring, 20, 25 guys, and then, 16 end up actually getting in the house. There's backups and, injuries happen, tons and tons of things. Well, again, I went back to square one. I said, I didn't give myself a plan B. So fuck this plan B. Moved back to Ohio. Left my girlfriend there, my girlfriend at the time, and said, sorry, I got to do what I got to do. And moved back with, really, I think I spent my last, dollars just on the move, like gas and food and, towing a little trailer and everything. So I moved back with no money and just hoping for that dream. Got in a good training camp, and then, so ended up getting on the house, and that's why that was probably the scariest fight of my life when I first got in the house. And we didn't know that we had to fight to get in the house. I thought once I flew to Vegas and I get off the plane, I'm like, I'm here, I made it. Yeah. Life is good. Now we got to go win some fights in the Ultimate Fighter house. But instead, they put us all in the room, and we're all looking around, and there's not 16 of us. We're like, this is way more than 16 people. There's 32 of us. Okay. They said tomorrow. They said tomorrow you guys got to fight to get in the house. The winners stay, the losers go. I said, holy shit! Right? Like I did all this, and now I don't even know if I'm going to be here. I could go home tomorrow. To add to that, they put me with a guy named Josh Hall, this was a 185 season. He was probably 200 pounds. I was right at 185.
Yeah.
You know, I eating whatever I wanted to stay at 185. You know, so I still to this day remember that stare down, you know, when they mashed us up and they put us up in front of everyone. I was like, this dude is big as hell. And then to add even a little bit more to it, you know, come the next day. So, you know, there's Forrest and Rampage were the two coaches.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come to find out, Rampage brought them on the season. But since no teams had been assigned, they assigned corners to us. Well, they assigned Forrest as corner to him. So now I got Forrest cornering him and his team, Rampage and his team cornering him because they're his boy. He's their boy.
Yeah.
So now I'm in this fight with Dana White sitting right there. Very intimate environment, very scary thing. My life is on the line here. This is the fork in the road.
Yeah.
You know, in my life, and I know this is, you know, a lot of people lose on that show and never hear from again.
Right.
I know this is the fork in the road, and I got a giant across from me. Everybody's cornering him. My back's against the wall. What you gonna do, motherfucker? And I went out there and pushed through it and knocked him out in the first round.
Man,
TKO.
that's incredible. That's an incredible story. Yeah, that's the ultimate right there. I mean, there's a lot there that you put on the line, that you put on hold for a lot of levels of no guarantees, right? All the different phases you had to go through. You still had some different interviews, and then to come find out the rules kind of get changed on you when you get there. And what was it inside? Like it was just something inside, like, man, this is what I got to do. This is just like what I'm meant to do. This is my path. Or
well, I've been blessed, I guess, maybe naturally with a lot of focus and like I never even I look back on it. It's a pretty good story. At the time, it wasn't even a story to me. This was each moment. I said, I'm not letting this push me back. I'm not letting this hold me down. I didn't even have to say that to myself because it didn't even cross my mind that it could or would. I didn't care one bit. That I had one thing on my mind. And that was plan A. Plan B stands for plan bitch. And I wasn't going there. I said, this is the only thing I want. And there's only one person that can stop me from doing this. And that's Josh Hall. And he's across the cage from me, or going to be across the cage from me. And I knew that.
That's it right there, right? It's just it's the plan A. Like I mean, that's the theme, obviously, for you is there is no other route. It's just that this is the route. There isn't a fork in the road. Like, this is just the road that I'm on.
Yeah. I was I can accept if there's a fork too, though, you know, like I said, look, you know, maybe he beats my ass, but you know, that doesn't mean I'm gonna be any less relentless in my pursuit.
Yeah, no doubt that you know, had it went the other way, it didn't, of course. You still find a way to make it just from hearing your story and who you are. So what are you know, as we wrap this up, I know you're under the weather, so I definitely appreciate you just taking the time to still come on. And what would be maybe one or two things you could leave with the listeners, you know, some principles that you live by that they could implement into their life today to help them move forward?
Well, I think we kind of talked about a little bit. I mean, that's that whole plan A, plan B thing is the big failure in life that I see. I see it in fighters all the time. You know, they want to, they say they want to be fighters or go to the UFC and this and that, but I also see them for 8 or 10 hours before they're in the gym, they're pursuing something else.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, there's you're eventually going to step into the cage with someone that isn't doing that.
Yeah, right.
And they're sleeping on the mats like I did at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And they, you know, they're living off of frozen bags of chicken breast and instant mashed potatoes like I did. And they're bumming rides to the gym because they can't afford a car because they won't keep a job because they're, you know, and it's it's a starving artist, and it's a tough way to live. And there's not necessarily a lot of honor in that life for a while, but you got to see the bigger picture. I mean, I think it was the same like when I opened my gym. I mean, I had to suck up a lot of pride. I actually, so, a little story was, I got divorced. My wife left me, or we got separated, however you want to say it. Let's see, like 1 or 2 months into opening my gym. So now it's just me. So now I got to do the accounting. Now I got to do the sales. Now I got to sit at the front desk. Now after teaching a class or before teaching a class, I got to make calls. Hey, you coming to the gym? I don't know how many people I called, and they're like, are you Matt Brown? You're calling me? You know what I mean? And I'm like, yes. Yeah. And in the back of my head, yes, this is Matt Brown.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm calling you because I want to see if you want to sign your membership or whatever. And that was I had to suck up my pride, right? Because I decided that I was going to build this business. And I didn't have a plan B about it. I said, this is going to succeed. And now I have employees making those calls. Now I have, other instructors helping out, teaching the classes. So, it's just a process. And, that I think that's what a lot of people have a hard time doing, is just doing what they have to do to get what they want. And most of the time, I think most people, they know what it is. They know what they should be doing.
Yeah, they know exactly.
But the pride will get in the way, or laziness, of course, or they don't really want it.
Yeah, yeah.
And they didn't make a choice.
Yeah, that's a great message. So thank you. You got a fight? You got another fight lined up yet, or?
Yeah, I'm fighting March 28th here in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay. Great. Love it. How can we find out more about you and follow you?
I am the Immortal, Twitter and Instagram. At the Immortal Brown on Facebook.
Great. We'll get that linked up. Appreciate you, like I said, taking some time. I know you're not feeling well. Thank you so much. Enjoyed the time. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.